This episode is presented to you in the form of an audiobook. Have you ever made a plan to turn your life around? You tell yourself, tomorrow, I'm going to wake up early, hit the gym, get my work done, and be super productive. You feel confident about it, like you're finally going to make progress and be consistent. But then tomorrow arrives, and when you wake up, you feel like a completely different person. The person who made those plans the day before doesn't seem to exist anymore. Instead, you find yourself avoiding everything you said you were going to do. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not broken, and you're not lazy. The real issue isn't about failing to execute your plan, it's about misunderstanding how your mind works. In today's episode, we're going to explore why consistency is so difficult and how the real problem isn't discipline, motivation, or willpower. The real issue is that you're not the same person every day. In fact, you're constantly changing, and the version of you that made the plan yesterday might not be the one who shows up today. Understanding this is the key to making sustainable change in your life. Think about who you were 5 years ago. How did you dress? What kind of music did you listen to? What goals did you have? Now compare that version of you to who you are today. You're probably a completely different person, right? Your mindset, your priorities, the way you approach life, it's all changed. But here's the interesting part, that same level of change happens every single day. It's just that we don't notice it because the changes are very subtle. We assume we are one consistent person, but in reality, we are a collection of different versions of ourselves, gradually evolving with each passing day. For example, one day you might wake up as the version of yourself who's motivated, eager to exercise, and tackle your to-do list. The next day, however, you might wake up feeling like you don't want to do anything. And yet, we expect these different versions of ourselves to act the same way every day. We expect them to have the same priorities, the same discipline, and the same goals. That's where things go wrong. We're not the same person every day, so no wonder consistency feels so hard. The key is to stop thinking of your life as a solo mission and start seeing it more like a team relay. Imagine you're playing a video game, but instead of controlling your character the whole time, a new player takes over every 5 minutes. Each version of you is just one player in the sequence. Now think about it, if the player before you slacked off, wasted resources, or ignored the mission, you'd spawn into a mess. You'd be frustrated because you'd have to clean up their mistakes before you could make any progress of your own. We often think of consistency as doing the same thing every single day, showing up and sticking to the plan. But in real life, consistency looks a little different. It's more like a team effort between the you from today and the you from tomorrow. The you from today is the one playing the game right now, but the you from tomorrow is next in line. If you spend the day procrastinating and avoiding what matters, the version of you from tomorrow will wake up to chaos and no motivation to begin. The cycle repeats, and the game just gets harder. But if the you from today sets things up and makes good decisions, then the you from tomorrow wakes up with momentum. This is what real consistency looks like. It's not about being perfect or forcing yourself to stay the same every day. It's about recognizing that you're a temporary player in the game, and your job is to set up the next version of yourself for success. But why do we keep making things harder for our future selves? The answer lies in how our brains are wired. There's a psychological bias called future discounting, our tendency to favor instant gratification over long-term benefit. This is why you'll choose to eat junk food today, even though you know it'll make you feel bad tomorrow. It's why you stay up late scrolling on your phone, even though you're fully aware that you'll regret it in the morning. This isn't about being undisciplined, it's about the way our brains operate. Your brain literally sees the you from tomorrow as a stranger. For example, if I ask you to choose between $100 now or $200 a year from now, most people would take the $100, even though waiting could give you more. Your brain craves immediate gratification. Historically, our ancestors relied on quick rewards for survival. Getting food now was more important than waiting for a larger reward. But in modern life, this bias works against us. It makes us sabotage our future selves. The short-term rewards we're chasing today are often the very things that make life harder tomorrow. So how do we fix this? How do we get past this natural bias and start making decisions that benefit the future version of you? Most people struggle with consistency because they think progress is an all-or-nothing game. They think if they can't make huge strides every day, then they're failing. But that's not how progress works. Instead of rushing through life like it's a race, think of it more like a video game with save points. You don't have to complete everything in one go, you just need to make it to the next checkpoint. This works because when you play a game, you're not constantly worried about finishing everything at once. Your focus is on reaching the next checkpoint, one step at a time. And once you hit that checkpoint, your progress is saved. Even if you log off or take a break, you don't lose all your progress, you just pick up where you left off every time you turn on the game. Life works the same way. Instead of pressuring yourself to be perfect every day, shift your focus to saving your progress so that the version of you from tomorrow doesn't start from scratch. If you're struggling with productivity, don't try to finish everything at once, just complete one small task, something the next version of you can build on. If you're too tired to work out, don't skip it entirely. Go for a 10-minute walk or do a single set. Even a small effort builds momentum for tomorrow. If you don't feel like cleaning the house, instead of letting it pile up, clean just one room or one area. The version of you from tomorrow will have one less mess to deal with. The key is to make sure every version of you inherits a slightly better setup than the last. Some days you'll make significant progress, other days, your goal is simply to get a small win. Either way, as long as you keep saving your progress, you're always moving forward. Consistency is about continuity, not perfection. Now, some of you might be thinking, alright, I get it. I need to set up the future version of myself for success. But honestly, I don't even care about that version. This is where a lot of people struggle with consistency. It's not because you lack motivation, it's not because you're lazy. It's because deep down, you don't see yourself as someone worth investing in. Think about it, we make sacrifices for the people we care about. If your best friend needed help, you'd be there for them. If a family member needed support, you'd try to make their life easier. If you had a pet to take care of, you'd make sure they're fed, comfortable, and safe. But what happens when you don't actually care about yourself? You don't feel like your future self deserves the effort. If you love yourself, you make sure your future self has a good life. If you don't love yourself, you sabotage your future because you simply don't care. Additionally, most people are way harsher on themselves than they would ever be to another person. If your friend was struggling in life, you'd probably say, hey, don't be so hard on yourself. Just do one small thing and keep going. But when you struggle, what do you say? Wow, I'm so lazy. I'll never get my life together. What's wrong with me? That negative self-talk is a huge reason why consistency feels so hard, because honestly, why would you take care of someone you don't like? Here's a mindset shift that can immediately make consistency easier. Imagine future you as a separate person. Treat them like a best friend or a little sibling. Would you sabotage their life, or would you make sure they had an easier time? The more you see future you as a person worth helping, the easier consistency becomes. The final takeaway from today's episode is, stop trying to be consistent as one person. Start thinking of life as a series of different players passing the baton forward. The only thing you need to focus on is setting up future you for an easier start. Stop viewing life as a constant grind toward some ultimate goal. Instead, treat it like a relay race where each version of you is simply handing things off. And if each version of you does their part just a little bit better, over time, you'll build real, effortless consistency. So before we end this, I'd like to ask you guys a quick question. What's one thing you can do today to make life easier for future you? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear what small changes you're making. And if you want more content like this, subscribe for more psychology-based strategies to improve your life. Thanks for listening, and remember, you don't have to win the whole game today, you just have to set up the next player for an easier